One other thing on Philly. Um, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like that price on them to win the Super Bowl next year. I don't.
Nope.
Um,
Why would
and
you?
this is something that has to be talked about as we bring up the prices for next year. I mean, I looked at that price last June or July to win the Super Bowl, and I saw 14-1, and I thought, yes, yes, I'm in. This year, after the Super Bowl, I mean, this is quite literally the worst time to bet Philly to win the Super Bowl next year because it just happened.
Mm-hmm.
BetMGM has plus 650, which I don't like. There's a 6-1, and I also see in Vegas there's a plus 550. Nope, I'm good.
Not interested. We've got a listener who he runs a sports odds history account, and after big events, I always look to see what kind of note that they have. He tweeted out they were 12-1 at the start of the season. Going into week 8, this was the best price you can get all year. Going into week 8, the Eagles were available at 16-1, believe it or not. Which is surprising because there were people thinking that they would not make the playoffs after 4 games. And then going into week 8, they end up going 16-1. All right. So, we talked about some of the free agents for the Eagles. And so, yeah, obviously you win the championship, you're the favorite. Sweat's a free agent. Brandon Graham's probably going to retire. He's getting ready for his post-playing career. Zach Bond, who had a big pick. Mekhi Becton helped them out on the tackle spot. Milton Williams, monster game last night. He's an unrestricted free agent. It's a pretty decent list. Oren Burks stepped in with the injury that they had at middle linebacker. He's going to be unrestricted free agent, but I don't look at this list of Eagles and saying that they won't be able to repeat. So I guess I understand. A lot of depth guys there for the Eagles. All right, your second favorite. I mean, these teams are close. Let's call the top tier 5 teams. Eagles are your favorite. Ravens plus 700. Bills plus 750. Chiefs same price. Lions plus 800. That is your top tier. The one that stands out that you pointed out earlier, Sam, is the Chiefs. Anybody else?
Not in the top 5. No. I mean,
Yeah.
if you wanted me to make a bet today, and I should, you know what? I'm just going to bet some of this right now. Like, there's no reason not to bet some of this plus 750. It's not going to be that high in August, so I'm gonna bet some of that right now on Kansas City. This is the time. This is literally the time to bet it. I don't
They're
remember
going to be
seeing
a
a price
top
on
2
them.
seed. If you
Yeah.
have a top 2 seed going into the playoffs next year, you're going to be very happy at a price of around 8-1.
I mean, I'm looking at a couple of my other books right here. I see 6-1, 650. 750 is a very, very good price at BetMGM. Let's go take their money. That's a good number. The other
Mm-hmm.
team that's interesting because look, you're not if you're coming into this with the thought process of I'm going to bet the Eagles because they just won the Super Bowl. Yeah, everybody's thinking that. So you have to buy the dip on teams at this point. You buy the dip on Kansas City. That's not a dip on Detroit, though, at 8-1. I mean, their number was 10-12-1 coming into last season. So the stock on the Lions, I still think is too high. I mean, the one that's staring me right in the face right now is San Francisco at 14-1. Just given the way that their roster has been, constructed, there's a lot of talent there. I know Devo might want out. Other guys might want trades. You could find a 17-1 too on San Fran. Get the best number, of course. I mean, 17-1 on San Francisco, given how good that roster is and that coach is. They were decimated by injuries last year. Just decimated. So that would be the one that would jump out to me in the NFC.
So you've got San Francisco 14, Cincinnati 18, Green Bay 20, Washington 20. I think that's too short, but I understand why we're here. Let's call that the next tier. That's between 14 and 20. You talked about how much you liked the Niners. JLC mentioned the Packers. Mike Schopp mentioned me. mentioned the Packers at around 20 from WGR in Buffalo. I think the Packers are going to be popular and that people are going to look at them and just the landscape of that division. Bears not ready yet. Ben Johnson's going to rework that O-line. It's going to be too much. New offense again for Caleb. The Vikings probably a step back with McCarthy under center. Everything went right this past season. And then the Lions replacing all of those coaches. Are they going to take a step back? And then the Packers are just left in what looked like in the regular season, the best division in football. So I think it's sound. I understand why people are landing on Green Bay at 20-1 as a team to like for next year.
Here's one that's interesting and probably polarizing. I'm sure you could get either a hard yes or a hard no from a lot of people on this team. What about Harbaugh? Chargers, yep. 25. Yep. What do you think?
Same division as the Chiefs. Yeah, no, it's – look, I went into the whole Harbaugh thing thinking, okay, he's going to do very well. He's probably going to turn around quicker than expected, and he did. And now it's when it really gets started. Now he's getting his players in. Now it's going to be year 2 of the system. I don't think they're going to start to fade. I expect them to ascend here. So I think that's pretty good. 25. That's the same number as the Texans. That's the same number as the Rams. Between those 3 teams at 25-1, I think it's obvious. You go Chargers over Texans and Rams.
I would too. I am more pro-Charger than most people, especially given that he's got the year under his belt there and he's going to weed out what he doesn't want. You know what the most popular bet's going to be in the Midwest? Bear down, 40-1.
Yeah.
They're going to bet it. Dude, they're going to bet it. I'm telling you.
Oh, I know. I tweeted out these odds, and I already got some Bears responses. I'm like, you just went through this. You bought a ticket last year. Can he have a minute? Do you expect the Eagles to be on this short list to win the Super Bowl again, or is it going to be maybe kind of a step back here like it was last year for them? How do we proceed with that?
Well, if you're inclined to believe they can repeat, I would grab those odds now before they trade for Myles Garrett, and then the market shifts.
Is that a prediction?
So that's what I would do. Yeah,
man,
what I would do.
Wow.
If you think they've got that kind of moxie that they could beat the Chiefs again, or beat Josh Allen, or beat Lamar Jackson, or whatever in a Super Bowl, then yeah, I would say go ahead and do that now before he trades a couple of 28th to 32nd overall picks for Myles Garrett. That's what I would do.
Damn.
I talked to 2 GMs over the weekend who they think Howie's doing it. And that, look, remember, Andrew Berry came from there. Andrew Berry knows he's probably getting whacked in a year. The Eagles, like I just said, pay really good. If Andrew Berry, who's from the northern part of Maryland, like almost suburban Philadelphia, like not quite, but like really close, and has family here, and like the Eagles pay really well, and like if Andrew Berry's whacked in 9 months and he doesn't get a GM job, like, and he just, kind of did Howie a solid. Like, and these are people in the league telling me, like, this isn't my cockamamie conspiracy theories. These are 2 different people who I'm talking to over the weekend about the Myles Garrett market, and they both say the same thing. Well, don't you think Andrew Berry could, like, you want to trade him? You trade him to the NFC. You trade him to where he's going to win, so he's willing to facilitate the trade. And then if Andrew Berry needs a really well-paying executive job in a year, Howie's got room for him. Bring him back into the fold.
Your thoughts on the Lions being Super Bowl good talent-wise, but every coach wanting to leave? Like, I've never seen anything like that, where the team is good, the roster is good, but every coach is like, see ya. What do you make of that?
I'll be interested to see their spreads early in the season, because that brain drain, I mean, there's usually it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks before everybody gets on the same page. And the preseason is a nothing burger, and training camps are over like that. And anybody who has any sort of middling injury is off their feet the whole time. So you're not getting, actual cohesion among your starters and everybody figuring out. And I'm sure they're going to try to, they're promoting from within and new terminology, this or that. It's just not the same. Somebody else is literally making the decisions that affect what play is called when. It's a big deal. They're going to have their own tendencies. They're going to have their own sort of predilections. And they don't even know, a lot of they don't know themselves, because they haven't done it at this level, or they haven't done it with a team with these kind of expectations. So it's going to be a process, and they've been a covering machine for 3 years. But like, I don't know, man. Early in the year, I'm going to probably have to kind of see it to believe it, that there won't be some regression in some areas. And their offseason, they've got to get real. Like, you got to have a lot of guys coming off injuries. Not all of them are going to be exactly where you want them to be all the time. And like, they need to add a few. Like, I get it. It's a really good roster, and it was a great roster before guys got hurt, but guys will get hurt. It's football. And I think they need to approach this offseason with more urgency than they've shown at the last couple of trade deadlines. That's for sure.
We need to bring in Paul Aspen, Philly native, Eagles guy. Explain some of this. Oh, wow. Oh, look at this. Wow. Okay. This
my
was
God. Dude.
This was premeditated, clearly. I didn't know this was going to happen, but this is great.
I didn't either. I looked around. I was like, oh, there's a cigar. And but yeah, I was in Philadelphia yesterday. I am not in Philadelphia anymore. I was not on Broad Street. I could not take credit for burning Kermit, but that's my favorite video I've seen. I experienced the Philly championship on Broad Street back in 2008. It was the best. Now, were some cars flipped and possibly lit on fire? Maybe. Not by me, just to be clear. Was a bus stop like beat to hell and like smashed to smithereens? Maybe. Did I end up on like not by me. Did I end up on the roof of a hotel? Maybe. But like the overall theme, people are just so happy. Like, and again, 08 was a little different. Like you said, Joe, they've been in Super Bowls in 2017 now. They won a Super Bowl. They were in one a couple of years ago. There's been a lot more celebrations, but as a 40-ish-year-old Philly fan, we did grow up in a loser town. Like, it was a loser town for a long time. So I think, like, people that are around my age, you still kind of have that. But I mean, it's awesome. And I am so happy for everyone in Philadelphia and I just said during the break, I'm glad I was 22 in 2008 and staying out all night, because I can't imagine people that are just walking into Wawa right now to get their breakfast sandwiches and their coffee and probably throw a little Jameson into it to keep it going. But the parade's going to be awesome. Jason, are you going to top Jason Kelce from 2017? Probably not, but go Birds. Say it back.
The outfit that you have on, for those watching on YouTube and Twitch, is very good. I mean, Joe, he looks like he's been drinking with me all night. Look at him.
I know, man. I couldn't imagine doing one of these benders. Like, I was at an event on Saturday. I drank some, didn't go crazy, had to wake up for the show early yesterday, and I was a wreck all day. I didn't even go hard. And I was a disaster. So I couldn't imagine. I'm looking at these videos. I just search Eagles fans burn, and you just see these videos. Like you mentioned, they're holding up Kermit on fire. There's a lot of chance of bleep Taylor Swift. Love those videos. Those are quite enjoyable. And yeah, there are a lot of things.
Philly girl,
right
by
now.
the way. Philly area.
Yeah.
Comes from the diehard Eagles family, but no one's perfect.
And I'm watching another video right now of they ripped down a street pole and they're carrying it around the streets of Philadelphia. Fans have ripped down poles, traffic lights, crushed cars, and have been lighting things on fire all over the city.